Hey folks, in this video I'm going to talk to you about why I decided to move out the country and why I chose Portugal specifically. So I have my notes here and you'll see me kind of refer back to those so I can look at my notes, because there was a lot of things I didn't consider when I made this move, and hopefully this video will be helpful to someone. So first, let's start about why I decided to move out of the country. So I'm from Washington, D.C. And I guess the short answer is I continue to get reminders that life is short. And so because of that, I wanted to start traveling more. And once I started traveling more, you get a whole new awakening of other cultures, of how things are going, what things you enjoy, and you start to understand that the rat race that we're in, or that's pushed upon us, I feel, in America. And I love America, don't get it twisted. Don't go in my comments like I'm some, American hater. It's not that. It's just based on the lifestyle and the life that I personally wanted. I wanted to change things up. So I had never anticipated growing old in America. I thought when I got older, I'll probably move to another country, more so because it's more affordable. Healthcare costs, of course, increase as you age, and America's healthcare costs are ridiculous. Like, it is crazy expensive. I mean, I know people who don't even want to pay to call an ambulance because they don't want to pay the fee. Like, your leg is completely away from your body, but you're not gonna call it, okay, we just gonna get in an Uber with your leg. So, I mean, there was so many things in regards to the cost of living of America and the quality of life that I didn't want to spend my years as I aged being a part of that particular system. So fast forward a little bit, a lot of people that I cared about just really started to experience illness or cancer. Some of them passed away. And in November, just being completely transparent, I made this decision to move out of the country rather rashly. I was grieving, I was mourning, I was depressed. Someone who was extremely close to me had passed away. And it was like in November around the holidays, which I actually get depressed around the holidays anyway. She passed away during the holidays. And prior to that, I had lost a good amount of friends who all of them thought they had forever to live. I am not going to cry. I'm trying not to cry. So it kept being this ongoing theme that life is short, life is short, life is short. It's not just about going to work and making money and not having any interpersonal relationships with your partner or anything like that. So am I rambling? I might sound like I'm rambling. I'm gonna put this together. Basically, I was turning 40. Someone I cared about passed away, and I was like, life is short. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to leave this country. And so I did. I chose Portugal specifically. I day trade and also do digital marketing for some clients. So having a stable internet connection is critical. So my favorite country at this point is Costa Rica, although I'm falling in love with Portugal, and I love Portugal. They're just completely two different countries with a completely different feel. I feel like I'm supposed to be a hippie, like I'll be on some straight bohemian vibes, and I feel like Costa Rica just gives me the opportunity to be a hippie. Meanwhile, I still have to make money. So I needed a place with a stable internet connection, and I felt like various parts of Central America, South America, and even the Caribbean and all that, the internet connection is really great in the capital city, but as you go further out in the country, it's a little intermittent, particularly in the specific place I like in Costa Rica. The internet was always intermittent. So as much as I love it, and maybe I'll be there, in the future, I couldn't make that move right now. So I knew I had to go to either Asia or Europe. I have never lived out the country before, so going to Asia was a jump considering it was so far. Europe is a quick flight back to the States in case I changed my mind. And so I started researching European countries, and at the time they were saying that Portugal was one of the most affordable European countries. Is that still the case now, 2020? Listen, There were a lot of things that I thought were the case until I actually moved here, and I'll put that in a completely separate video. But it's a bit more expensive than I was led to believe. I live in Lisbon, and it's like the New York of Portugal, so of course things are more expensive here. But that's kind of what that is. So when it came to kind of figuring out the things that were important to me personally about where I wanted to move, Portugal fell within those categories. So when you travel a lot, you start to experience amazing fresh food. And let's be honest. In America, fresh food is not really a thing that you have easy access to. I mean, when you consider it, majority of our fruits and vegetables don't even come from the US. They come from other countries. So when you consider, when they have to pick it in said country, they can't even pick it when it's ripe because it has to be transported. So you're not even really experiencing fresh food in the sense of fresh. And let me tell you this, I didn't really realize that. I mean, I knew the food tastes different and more fresh in other countries, cool. I didn't really realize that until I came to Portugal. Because when you come here, a lot of the grocery stores and a lot of the food that's here comes from Portugal. So its transport is a lot shorter. So the fruit, oh my God, if you're here and you're here during the summer, the fruit is some of the most amazing fruit I have ever experienced. And it's so easily accessible. I mean, you can go to a corner store and get fresh melons, fresh real strawberries, like all of that. It's just absolutely amazing. So the quality of life, like I'm a foodie, I love food. And Portugal gives you amazing food. Not with a whole bunch of sauces and stuff to dress it up. It's just clean, nicely seasoned, fresh food. And when I was searching for a country to live, the food had to be good. So Portugal, check that. I wanted a country that was still affectionate. Like I come from a city, so maybe in a city people aren't as caring, and that sounds horrible, but it's true. Everybody's kind of stuck making money, you know what I mean? So you lose out on a lot of interpersonal relationships, whether it be with your partner, whether it be with your friends, because you have so much stuff and you have to keep working to maintain this stuff. And I didn't want to live like that anymore. And it is nothing to be around the city and see people hugging and kissing and loving each other. And when you go to dinner here, just expect it to take 3 hours. And not every night, but when you're with friends and families, dinner is going to run long, and deal with it. You know what I mean? Like, it's not just about the job here. People care about interpersonal relationships, even with strangers. And I thought that was beautiful, and I wanted to be a part of that. I wanted to be at a place where that is the case. Weather. Now, being from the East Coast, you deal with cold weather a good portion of the year, and it's not sunny, it's not pretty, it's depressing, it's snow, it's all that. So I did want to come to a place that was this warm majority of the year. And so, you know, Europe experiences cold and all type of stuff as well, but Portugal being on the coast, it doesn't get as cold as some of the other European cities. So it seemed like a great option and reason to move here. Now, because I was moving to a country that I knew no one, I wanted a place that didn't have like a lot of crime. And from what everyone says here, Portugal has no crime. I'm from DC, so that's hard to believe that there's a place that literally has no crime, but it's safe here is basically what I want to say. So Portugal is a very safe country, and being a woman by myself, that was important to me. I wanted to lower my cost of living. And granted, Portugal is substantially cheaper than DC, but it is not as cheap, Lisbon in particular, is not as cheap as everyone has been saying. Now, this apartment, if this apartment was in Washington, DC, it would be several $1,000s a month. So there are some plus and minuses, and I really want to go into detail about the cost of living in Lisbon. I'll do it in another video, but I really think that there's a little bit of false information that I found when I got here that I didn't think was really said or well known, and I do want to share that with you. I just won't do it in this video. So to wrap this up and sum it up, the reason why I moved out of America is because I personally wanted a different quality of life, and in my opinion, a better quality of life for what I personally wanted, and what spiritually spoke to me. So that's what I did. When I chose Portugal specifically because it's low crime, the cost of living is less, it's warm, 10 months out the year, and even when it's cold here, which I feel like this was my first winter I stayed here, and it was December. It was rainy. It was very rainy in December and a little bit of November. So being a little chilly and it's wet outside, that it was kind of but not as bad as the East Coast. So if you can get through December, it's now January now at the time of the publishing of this video. So January, I mean, I'll show you outside. It's bright and beautiful. It's 60 degrees here in January. So December was cold, but not that cold. I've never worn a massive jacket here. So I feel like it gets about maybe low 50s. So far. I'm sure it gets colder. That's just what I experienced. This is my first winter. So again, it's not that cold, and it's a different way of life. So if you want to see my journey here in Portugal, then I invite you to subscribe, and please follow me on Instagram, because I do stories there more often than I do on YouTube. If you want more of a immediate type of what life is in Lisbon, then I'll show you that. I'm still going to keep traveling. I figured since I'm in Europe now, it's easier for me to get to other European countries, because I haven't done that much Europe during my travels. I've done a lot of Central, South America, Caribbean, and Asia. Not a lot of Asia, but some Asia. But I haven't really done much of Europe. So, you know, you'll see me making those moves as well. So in Portugal, that's kind of what my story is. And if you decided to move out the country, and out of America specifically, I would love to hear your story down in the comments. And if you live in Portugal and you can give some insight, I would be honored. So until next time, guys, thanks for joining me.